Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Al's English Classes. I'm Al, hey, and this is the very first one, so you can expect to see a few more changes as we progress. But I wanted to start with something nice and basic, and by the way, I'm not going to be going through the entire English language with you. I'm just going to try and find those little things that sometimes slip through when you're learning a language. And if you enjoy it, please subscribe. Thank you very much. Tell your friends, ring the bell for notifications, and leave your comments down below as to what you think. And if you've got any questions or suggestions as to what you want me to do next, then just go ahead and let me know. Today we're going to be talking about pronunciation, and we're going to focus on plural nouns. Now, that sounds a bit simple, really, but you take a word like dog and chair and hat and jacket, you just pop an S on the end, and there you go, that's your plural. Dogs, hats, jackets, okay? But some words follow a slightly different rule, and that would be using es and pronouncing it like is. For example, he is, she is. That's the sound we're looking for. And we have to write es. So I've got them in parentheses here. So let's these words which end with these sounds, nouns which end with these sounds, would be pronounced like that. For example, bus, buses, kiss, kisses, wish, wishes, church, churches, box, boxes, and nose, noses. Yes, the sound of that is z, buzzy. Okay, and that's for nouns, plural nouns. So it's so simple. Any of these sounds at the end of the noun, and that's what you do. You put es on and pronounce it is. But it's also true for third person singular verbs. For example, he marches. March. Okay. She mixes. The bee buzzes. So there you go. If it's the sound at the end of the infinitive, then the third person singular is pronounced marches, mixes, buzzes, whatever. Okay. Now, sometimes the noun doesn't have these letters at the end, but it sounds like it does. What do you mean? Well, change, bridge, fridge, budge. Can you hear it? It's like an SH sound. Change, bridge, fridge, budge. Now, what is budge? You might be thinking budge. Budge is to move something slightly. For example, if you're taking a picture of a group and you want to get into the picture, set the timer. You say, you set the timer and you jump over. You say, okay, budge along, budge over. You know, because the phrasal verbs budge along and budge over. I believe they're phrasal verbs because you can put a preposition after, so that would make it a phrasal verb. And then you say budge over, meaning move along slightly, let me in. Or, did you move my laptop? Well, I just budged it a little bit because I had to sit down. Okay? So, budge means to move something slightly. Okay? So, there we go. Change, and then we follow that rule again. Changes. Changes. So, changes, bridges, fridges, budges. This would be a third person verb, not a noun. And this could be a verb or a noun. Like, as you know, some words are nouns and verbs. Okay? So, there you go. I hope that's very simple. Watch it again if you didn't understand. Ask me questions if you didn't understand, and, you know. But we've got a little bit more. I want to make it a little bit more than just a tiny short class. So now we're going to talk about regular verbs in the past. How do you pronounce regular verbs in the past? Well, you've got three categories: voiced, unvoiced, and T or D. Now I'll explain what that means, so don't you worry. If the infinitive ends with a voiced sound, which means from the throat, like change, move, cry, those are voiced sounds. They come from the throat. Then we add a D. It's not actually a D sound like D. It's like changed, moved, cried. Oh, excuse me. I'm still getting over the flu. Oh, me. So remember to pronounce the infinitive completely and then the sound that we're looking for. Changed, moved, cried. Okay, a lot of people have problems pronouncing this in the past. People whose first language isn't English, obviously. Now, I hope that's clear. Then, if it's unvoiced, like work, stop, those are unvoiced sounds. They come from the mouth, but not the throat. In fact, most sounds, for example, say stop, p, 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 is unvoiced, and B is voiced. It's the same sound. You do the same thing with your mouth. For example, p, b, but the b is voiced. Didn't look very good on camera. Worked, walked, talked, stopped. Now, obviously, some words end with an E, but it's not sounded. So in that case, you would only add a D. And in these, I-E-D. In these instances, well, you know, you're gonna. So in these instances, you add ed because work doesn't end with an E, but you add ed. You add ed to an infinitive to make the past, unless it ends with an E, and then you only add a D. Or if it's a Y, I-E-D, and take away the Y. Get rid of it. So worked, walked, talked, stopped. And obviously doubling consonants, we can talk about that another time. You probably know the rules of that. Some people will, some people won't. Some girls will. Okay, so stopped. So it's just the infinitive, worked, walked, talked, stopped. Okay? And then the final category, if the infinitive ends with one of these sounds, T or D, then you can't put a T or D at the end and expect it to sound any different. So we add id. Okay, and these are the easiest ones to pronounce. Particularly for, I have a lot of Spanish students, Italian students, they have a little bit, because they are, instinctively, they want to say worked, walked, talked, stopped, changed, moved. Okay, but you don't do that. Oh, the sun's coming out. Hello. So you don't do that. You just you don't pronounce the E. Okay, the E is silent. As you can see, infinitive plus D, infinitive plus T. Changed, moved, cried, worked, walked, talked, stopped. Here you add the id sound. Taste and decide end with E, but they are not pronounced, obviously. The last sound of taste is T, taste. The last sound of decide is D, decide. So then we just add the id, okay? And you only add the D because they already end with E, but for want and need, you add the ed because the E is not part of the infinitive. Tasted, decided, wanted, needed. I hope that's very clear. I hope I explained it well, and I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, please subscribe because I'm going to be doing a lot of these different videos, different parts of English, things like that. Leave your comments, tell me what you'd like me to do a video on, or what you think, or if you have any questions. And don't forget to subscribe, really helps the channel. Did I just say that? Well, subscribe twice. Do one for your friend as well. And I'll catch you for the next video very soon. Thanks for watching. Ciao.